Okay, good morning everyone. Off camera I have done some oil washing on the Arcworlde Lowlander. I've done that on video before, so maybe go back through my archive on YouTube if you want to watch that, but in essence you're just using oil paints watered down with some white spirits, and the reason we're using oils are take longer to dry, so you can be quite liberal with them and then remove them from where you didn't want them, and it just separates. So I use a black or a really dark brown to separate out all the areas. So for example, his leather strap on his arm, nice dark line separating it from his flesh now. Even here on his face, nice dark line separating the red fabric on this helmet here. Another example here, red sash, nice dark line separating it from the metal, where before it was all just blending into one. And then giving it a matte twice because we'd put a gloss on to enable us to do the oil washing. So matted it down with 2 coats of dull coat, and I'm just going to add some more highlights here and there that I feel's missing. And today I'm going to highlight and work on some of this battle damage on the shield. Coffee to wake me up. It is 5:30 here now. Alright then, let's do the shield first, shall we? So last time I did some random battle damage using a sponge, and now I'm going to strategically try and put a muddy, rusty colour in the middle of it, of each, well, of the larger damage bits, and then try with a very small brush do a little white underline on each one, and what that does is gives you the illusion of a 3D chip in the paint. See if I can keep this in shot while I'm doing this, because they're very small. So I'm just adding a lighter colour in the centre of the larger battle damage. It's a bit too watered down, I think. We'll see.
Me.
It's probably too watered down. This is I normally like to work with quite watered down paints, but this is it's not showing up very well, and because it's such a small area I need to be quite accurate. I don't want to having to keep going over it and over it again, so let me try and get this in shot for you. Let's try and do it in one go, so I'm just making it a bit thicker So watered down paints are great for layering and blending, but in this case, because it's so small, we don't really need to worry about blending. And I just want a hint of rust or muck inside this painted the paint chips, or muck or rust, depending if this is a wooden shield or a metal one.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the Republican for which in my hands with puberty and nacho for all. Public.
Needs an enema.
So next, ever so carefully, I'm going to try and do a little tiny white line, and to aid me, I'm just going to try a tiny little bit of flow enhancer to the white, just to stop the paint from drying out in the middle of me trying to paint it. So what can happen if the paint's starting to dry out on your brush and you're trying to do a tiny smooth little line, the brush itself can end up staggering or stuttering, I suppose. So this might be quite difficult to keep in shot, so have to be so accurate. And here second brush is useful because you can edit the white line, make it thinner, push it around. Like that. So I'm applying the white line and then coming with a second brush and just thinning it down a little bit. It's a little bit easier than trying to do the tiniest little white line you can, and come in with the second brush and aid that job a little bit. So what I'm trying to do is just give it a 3D effect. We're trying to simulate the light from above coming down and catching the paint chip. If you imagine a layer of paint that's had a chip taken out of it, it's going to have a little lip. well, it's going to have a little lip all around it, but it's going to be the lower edge that the light catches if we're obeying zenithal lighting, which for those that don't know what that is, I've mentioned it a few times in the streams, but it's in essence what the majority of painters follow, or should follow in my opinion, is where light is coming from directly above, and therefore any areas that face directly above will catch that light. So how that translates to the model is that, I guess if you're looking down from above, any areas that you can see need to be nice and bright, where if you're looking from below, any areas that you can see should be nice and dark. And those that have seen how I begin a model, I use a zenithal priming technique, so that's priming it black all over, and then grey from 45 degrees, and then white from above, and that gives you almost a paint by numbers start to the model. Anything that's black, you know, needs to be shaded, and anything that's white, you know, that needs to be your highlights, and your greys, your kind of midtones. So that's the larger ones. There are the odd tiny little black dots. Now if you're careful, you can put a tiny white dot next to them, and again this is where the paint retarder comes really useful. So as you've probably noticed, I've been using this brush for a few minutes now, and where normally I would have had to go back to the palette to restock up with wet paint. I haven't had to do that, so I think those two white dots there are slightly too big, so second brush to make them smaller. I hope I've been keeping this in shot, because it's such a small area. I'm having to come in very close myself, and it's hard to keep an eye on the video screen, so apologies if this is out of shot. It's funny, to my naked eye, that white stripe looked fine, but on the camera it looked way too big, so yeah, it's actually quite useful painting on camera. It's like having a second person to have a look at it. It's good. Well, I'm going to get some a black or a really dark brown out, because I like that chip on the side of the shield that much. I might recreate some more. sorry, that's 9 shot.
Quite interesting going from the white that's got flowing answer in it to this black that doesn't, and it's
Drying out so much quicker. Let's put a bit of flow enhancer in this black. So it definitely helps when it comes to using such a small brush and doing such fine detail. In fact, it's even dried out on the wet palette.
So, like I said, from doing the random battle damage the other day, there was it had created a random chip on the side of the shield, but I liked it that much. I'm just doing a few more.
Okay, let's highlight them with a bit of white. So it's a little bit easier to imagine the chips catching a little bit of light if the light's coming from above on the shield. So I'm going to try, hold my breath and keep it in shot and do a tiny white line on the bottom of the chips. Slightly too large, that, so second brush, come in and remove a little bit, make it a little bit smaller. Let's have a look on camera. Yeah, I think that's going to be okay. Again. So that's the great thing about the second brush, is that, you know, without it I would have to be very, very accurate with these tiny little white lines, but I can be a little bit more liberal and use the second brush to edit it. Although there, I think I removed too much. Sorry, I'm quiet, I'm having to hold my breath to do this. Okay, I think especially those two have worked out quite well. It's battle damage on this shield. Maybe a little bit too bright white, I'm not sure. I might come back with some washes later to tone them down. Okay, while we've got this white on the palette, let's revisit a few areas to highlight up. Now, on this shield we can just dab with white selectively along the highlighted edge to represent more tinier chips in the shield, just to simulate the light catching a tiny little chip.
even just do the odd scrape here and there.
Hey, morning Dendra, how you doing? What's woken you up so early? The desire to paint, perhaps. Or as one of my friends used to say, if you shit the bed. Whoa, this is a lie-in for you, mate. Wow. So are you up to paint? If I remember rightly, you were posting. In fact, I watched a bit of your stream the other day. I think yesterday or the day before. You were painting that big Tyrannid head, which was starting to look awesome. I think there was some nice blending transition on the tongue that was sticking out of its mouth that stuck in my mind. I really like that. Joys of 4 hours of sleep a night. Whoa. Although some people can train the body, so I understand, to cope with that. I'm not sure I could do it regular. I tend to get migraines if I don't get enough sleep. Now and again I can get away with staying up late, but I do have to let my body catch up now and again. So what I'm doing now is I've just been doing a bit of battle damage on the shield. I don't know if you saw that. Put the first layer of red on the carapace tonight, then played games. I'll have to go check out the last night's stream then to see that. Or if you could tweet me a picture, that'd be awesome. So off camera last night I was I did some oil washes on this guy. It's one of my favourite stages because it starts to separate out all the areas. You might have heard me say when I was painting it, you know, I don't really like it when all the colours are blending together, and it's not until you separate them that it finally starts to come to life. So did the oil washes yesterday and separated out all the areas, and so it doesn't blend into one anymore. Yeah, I got muted on a few videos. It took me ages to find some non-copyright music, or even non-copyright music that said it was non-copyrighted. Got muted, or when it got uploaded to YouTube said it was someone else's music. So did a bit of searching around, and I think it'll flash up on my chat in a minute when Nightbot does some of the automated messages. A guy called Benjamin Briggs, he does some non-copyright music that he's happy for Twitchers to use, and you can donate as little or as much as you want to him to say thanks for it. And I also got in contact with my mate who I remembered, he's a musician, and he's given me a few tracks, and he's said he'd work on a few more for me, so that's really nice of him. So once he's got them online, I said I'd give him a shout out as well, so fellow Twitchers and YouTubers can use it.
And by he makes music, do you mean it's just his collection of other people's music, or if it's actually his music? Because I'm sure there's an appeals process. You might be able to get Twitch to reverse the muting if you can prove it's you've had permission to use that music. This is my limited understanding. I feel like I've had to become a music copyright expert trying to figure it all out. Sorry, I'm having to lean in so close to do some of these fine details that I can't see the screen, and I keep looking up and noticing I'm going out of shot. So apologies. Yeah, I mean that's true, mate. Yeah, I need a bit of music for some reason. It's weird. It's but yeah, I've had to learn to cope with some of this non-copyright. For some reason, non-copyright has to be. It seems it's trance and electro, which, you know, I've liked a bit of that over the years, but I can't listen to it over and over again. This kind of, I think they call it chip music. It's never heard of it before until I looked into music for Twitch, and that seems quite popular. And you know, it makes me giggle now and again thinking about some of the video games that it's from. But my mate Alan, who's doing some music for me, he's like a music composer who's done music for stage shows and stuff like that. So he just kind of asked what I wanted, so I just said, you know, something a bit more chilled out and ambient. So he's working on some of that for me. So I'll guess it depends what you're into. Everyone's music tastes are different, aren't they? And I guess that's a good thing. We'd all listen to the same music if everyone liked the same thing, and there'd be no music industry. So you're appealing it. Nice one. Don't think of the minicam as something you have to worry about. Think of it as a means when you are talking. It's somewhere to focus on to give your viewers that personal feel that you're talking to them. Okay, cool. Thanks, man. I'm thinking the highlights on the green parts of his backpack just need a little bit more work. Not really popping. I think everywhere else I'm quite pleased with. So, I mean, one theory I've tried to obey a little bit is that as the light comes down the model, it is suggested that you keep the top half brighter than the bottom half, and again that naturally draws a human's eye up to the face, and that does kind of obey the laws of physics as well, that as light travels down the body it's fading a little bit, so the bottom half would be darker. So I've tried to do that a little bit. Obviously not on the sword now, because metal does behave differently to clothes and things like that. Where clothes absorb light, metal does strange things where it catches the light and sends it to different places on the object. So quite happy to disobey that on the sword. So I'm going to mix up a lighter green to just catch these backpack a little bit more. So I'm using a much smaller brush than I normally do just to catch these edges, and a tiny bit of flow improver to stop it drying out before I've had the chance to get it on the model. I've got two massive Tyrannid models that I need to get painted up. They're, I can't remember what they're called. It's like on all fours and he's got a massive gun on his back. They were for a commission that fell through and I got to keep the models, so need to get them painted up and try and get some money back for them, maybe on Facebook or something, eBay. Alright, well that disc on the back of the backpack's popped a bit more now, and so is that pocket. Maybe make this one. I mean, there's not much light getting to this backpack, but it just seemed a bit dull. Done some little scratches on it. Why not? Exozyme, exocrine. I think that's it. Bear with me a minute. I'm just going to have a look at it. I can remember where I've put the bloody thing. No, I can't remember where it is. Yes. It's either got a massive gun on its back or coming out of its mouth. There were two variants you could do. I think there were one with loads of tentacles coming out of its mouth, or you could have it with a big gun. Oh, sorry. I do know where it is. It's just difficult to get to. I'll dig it out. Won't take too long. I don't know if you like me, Dendra. I've got boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes of miniatures that need to be painted. It is, what are you, Tyrannid, oh, Harspex, Tyrannid Harspex, H.A. Harspex. Oh yeah, optional assembly, exozyme. Does that make sense to you? Anyway, I've got two of them collecting dust that I need to do something with. But they look like they'll be fun to paint. Probably good airbrush project. So yeah, the first one, exozyme, is one of the options to do. Empty plague furnace, wow. So that's the only thing unpainted you own. You're not cursed with my problem then. See pretty miniatures and that I want to paint and end up getting them, and then see something else and the queue has built up, but I've promised myself that I'm not going to buy any this year. I don't know how that's going to work out. I'm already lusting over a WeGo robot that I've seen, that you might see pop up on the Twitter box, but I'm going to try and resist. I was actually given these Arcworlde miniatures, so that hasn't broken my New Year resolution. I'm friends with the sculptor, and he asked me to paint some for the demo tables at the conventions this year, so I actually play the game as well, so I can use them when I'm at the club playing the game. I'm cursed with unfinished models. So partly finished models. Oh God, is that worse than having not even a mountain of unstarted models? Perhaps it is. Let me guess, if you're anything like me, do you get a little bit bored part way through and then think, oh, I'll just paint something a little bit different until I get the motivation back to do what I was working on before? That happens to me occasionally. I've got a massive tree man to paint for a friend from Games Workshop. It's actually a really nice model. I nearly had a heart attack when I opened it though to build it. I had to ring him and say, look, you're going to have to build this because it's going to take me far too long. And he said he was quite pleased about that because he secretly wanted to build it, he said, so I gave it back to him and he's built it now. Yeah, that happens to me. Exact same thing. Get a bit bored. Think, right, move on to something else. I guess if you've lost motivation to paint something, I find I start cutting corners and making mistakes. So yeah, it's best to put it down, come back to it another time, or like you say, when you can't stand looking at it unfinished. Any areas on this that you think just need a little bit more work on the highlights? I'm trying to decide whether to do one more coat of varnish and then the silver, or risk doing the silver now and risk some of these highlights rubbing off in the future when I'm playing with it. I think I've kind of answered my own question there. I should really do another varnish. Oh, thanks, Andrew. Varnish, then silver, don't cut corners. Yep, okay, good man. Okay, well, let me, a few people have asked me what varnish I use, so let me just get the can and show that on screen, and then people can know. So I really recommend this, Tester's Dull Coat it's called. It is, for such a small can, it is a bit expensive, it's about a £5, but it's absolutely amazing stuff. It's it just, yeah, it never lets you down. In fact, I once frosted a model using a cheaper varnish, and I had a frantic look online to see how I can rescue it, and someone said, "Oh, spray this on it, it'll rescue it." And so I gave it a spray, and it totally got rid of the frosting. I don't know how, but yeah, absolutely love the stuff. My next experiment, you can buy it in a jar to put through the airbrush, so I'm going to do that next. So hopefully it'll work just as well and might be a bit cheaper. Morning Beefy, what are you up to? 5 minutes of varnish dry time saves heartache from a slip brush. Yep, good point, good point. So I'm just going to quickly give that a spray off camera, and maybe outside of this room, because I don't want to gas myself for the rest of the video. Just bear with me a second. Okay, so looks very shiny at the moment, but trust me, that is going to matte down really nice. So that's 3 layers it'll have had so far of this matte varnish, and I think that'll make that final, and then I'm just going to revisit all the silvers and golds because they've been really dulled down by that matte varnish. And then I think he's done apart from the base, so I'm just going to go grab the next miniature I'm going to paint while that's drying. In fact, might as well do all of these at the same time, so I'm going to paint the halflings next. So all the halfling fans out there will be pleased. Oh, it stinks in here now. You want to get high? Oh, here's one of the halflings I'm going to paint next. There's another one. So these are slightly different to the halflings that are normally in the game. These are called rangers, and this is their captain. And I've actually demoed the rules for the rangers. That though they're a little bit more. No, this isn't a ranger. Or is he? Yes, he is. Just got his hood down. Or is he? No, he's not. He's just a normal town guard, I think. He might be a ranger. I think he is a ranger. He's got a hood anyway. Yeah, they're much more effective. A little bit more expensive points-wise, but yeah, they're much more effective. Danger, you got a few cans. Yeah, it's good stuff. Just watching prior to my lesson later. Ah, Bob. Good stuff. Well, I'll see you at 11:30 for your lesson. Dendra, I might be doing 2 projects off camera if I get any more motivated watching you. That's got to be the smallest, greatest mini I've ever seen. Which one? The captain is pretty cool. So, I'm thinking maybe so the rangers sneaking around, I was thinking either something earth tones or dark greens or something like that. I'm probably going to finish their faces first. Yeah, well, I think they're all called rangers, these. In fact, there's one missing. There's supposed to be one whispering somewhere. Where's he gone? Where's he gone? Ah, don't tell me I've lost him. And there's another one. There's a little guy whispering somewhere. Or shouting. Damn, I wonder if I lost him demoing the other week. hopefully he'll turn up. So you not had much chance to put some of the stuff we learnt together the other week into practice, Beefy? Well, no worries, we'll have a refresher today when you come round. Oh, I'm really disappointed that halfling's gone missing. I'll have to message Alex and see if he can send me another one. I must have lost it. I was doing some demos with him a couple of weeks ago and they seem to have gone. Okay, I've mentioned this before, but for my flesh, I Foundry do a expert flesh set called called expert flesh. 127 is the number. I'm just going to use the shade colour, which has caught me by surprise again. I keep forgetting the lid's broken on this, so every time I take it off the lid falls off. Oh, that missing halfling's bugging me now. So this is a darker colour, so I'm just going to push this into the shades. To watch yourself travelling over today, Beefy. It's horrendous weather, it sounds like, outside. Really windy and horrible. The house is a bit upside down as well, so I do apologise for doing a bit of DIY. Here Alex, who sculpts these, is some of his most characterful miniatures of the halflings are really good. Oh, he's so bugging me that halfling's gone missing. I'll have to message him later and see if he can send me another one. Well, I'll have a good rummage around and make sure he hasn't fallen off my desk somewhere, but I suspect he's either got lost at the convention I was using them at or in transit back. Yeah, the what date are we on? I think it's tomorrow. The Kickstarter comes out. I think you can pledge for the halflings. Well, I mean, he's got a whole range of halflings out already for the game, but this is a new box set he's bringing out. But as part of the Kickstarter, I think if you're just interested in the models itself, you can just buy the halflings. Maybe I think you can buy the whole unit for 15 quid if you pledge on the Kickstarter. But I mean, the whole box set games is doing a whole box set where you get all the halflings, all the humans, all the orcs, and the giant troll that you probably saw me working on recently. There's 10 available on early bird. So if you could, I think it starts at 8 AM tomorrow or 8 PM tomorrow, to check out the Arcworlde Facebook page. And yeah, there's 10 available for £55. That's dice, box, all the models, and some quick start rules and scenarios to play the game. And then I think it's 65 quid, non-early bird. But yeah, if you're just after the miniatures, I think it's going to be 15 quid, but it really is a good game. I've been playing it loads. Right, let's have a look at this guy. So his face is slightly leaning over, so I think this side of his face is going to be much darker. So I'm going to paint the entire side of his face with this shade. Yeah. Obviously underneath this hand is going to be nice and dark. There's no light getting to that. Tickle in between his toes. Yeah, wild and windy here, mate. I was thinking about it yesterday. I drove past where you work, Beefy. Whoa, there's a lesson. I've just wiped my brush on my kitchen roll, and there was a bit of really dark weathering pigment on there that it picked up. I'm glad I caught that. I was about to wipe a dark brown all over this model then. So pushing some shade under his hat. Oh, no, I know I keep banging on about this, but where is that model? Damn, can't believe it's gone missing. I think it was my favourite halfling as well. He's like one of the other rangers, but he's just kind of whispering behind his hand like a command. So I guess I like to imagine these rangers sneaking around in the trees or the bushes and undergrowth, and he's like whispering a command to them. Right, bear with me a second, I'm just going to look on the floor. Where are you, you sneaky little halfling? That is really bugging me. Oh well. So the Lowlander's starting to dry. Still a bit wet, I think, from the varnish, but yeah, definitely look at his backpack, still wet as that varnish. Nah, I want on my bike, mate. I'm still a bit put off from being knocked off by that car. Yeah, still having a bit of problems with my knee as well, so I haven't been doing much cycling. Knocked my confidence a bit as that lady. I'm just going to darken down this shade a little bit. There are two reds that I like to put in my shades sometimes, just to bring the models to life. We all have blood running under our skin, so it's burnt Cadian red and whole red. I think whole red's a bit darker, so I'm going to use that. This is quite good for any creatures that have sore bits of skin, or like when I was doing the troll, he's got ropes all caught up on his arms and squeezing the skin, so it's really nice to use something like that whole red. Where there's sore skin, you can do light washes into those areas to make them look like they're red with infection or just really sore. It's quite good for washing onto the ends of noses as well, just to bring them to life a little bit, or washing quite a bit on the end of a nose to make them look like an alcoholic or they've been out in the cold. So you could probably see me pushing the pigment around and pulling it into the places I want it to go, then coming with a second brush, wiping it away from the transition to help it blend. I'll let it dry and move on to somewhere else, and then eventually return to the same area again to add another layer. So I suppose that's layering, trying to build up that colour, make it all blend together. I'm off for a bit, dig up some stuff out of this space. Enjoy the rest of your stream and your day. We'll catch you around. See you, Dendra. Have a good one. Good luck with the model, and post some pics if you get a chance. They're so full of character, these little halflings, I love them. They're tough little buggers in the game as well. I wouldn't say the strongest, but they've got some nice tricks and can take care of themselves. So when you come round, Beefy, today, if I'm yawning a little bit, I do apologise, but now you know why. You've caught me up early painting. if you get the chance, Beefy, there's if you've seen the top right hand corner, hashtag Boise2000UK. If you've got a Twitter account or an Instagram account, you can, if you use that to send me a picture, it'll appear in the top right hand corner where you can see my silly face at the moment. So yeah, use hashtag Boise2000UK and that box will automatically collect it and show it on the screen. So a few people have been sending me some pictures that they've been working on. Transition from nights. Ouch. Alright mate, well when you get here I'll have the kettle on and we'll have a strong coffee before we get started. Although I'm taking my little boy to football before you arrive, so you've got to do a lot of running around, so I'll probably be very awake by then. Is this the first time you've watched my stream, Beefy? I can't remember you commenting on it on one of them before. Sorry, all you can see are my thumbs. I think I've learned that doing the streams it's a little bit better for you guys if these models are actually stuck on something, rather than you having to look at my thumbs holding them like this. Still wet, the varnish on this. You've watched the recorded versions. I'm really pleased with this Lowlander. I think it's one of the best sculpts Alex has done so far, of the humans anyway. It's really fun to paint. A little bit more work to do on him, but he's nearly there. Okay, let's do some highlighting now. Yeah, I'll get all the flesh colours down. I tell you what, bloody Foundry Paints need to send me some paints for free. I think I've told that many people about them. So if you're listening, Foundry, I'd appreciate some new paints. So we started with this B. We've just gone into the shades with that, and then plus a bit of that. Now I'm going to start highlighting, so we'll use a bit of that, then a bit of that, and then a bit of that, and then finally that, and probably even mix some white in it, so we're going to get lighter and lighter and lighter. And then we might do some red washes on ends of noses and things like that. So I want it watered down enough to attempt to do a bit of pushing and pulling around and layering, but they're so small of these halflings, and the areas that I'm painting are so small that really I'm going to be relying probably more on the second brush to do the blending for us. And also we need it that little bit thicker. Oops, time for the second brush, made a mistake there. To make it actually stick to the model, because they're quite, a lot of these areas are raised edges, so watered down paint is just not going to stick to it. I mean, his top of his bald head he is not too bad. We can do a bit of pushing and pulling here, so pushing up into the light. Now I tell my students to try and push in one go and not do multiple ones, and often say do as I say, don't do as I do, because I know that I tend to do multiple ones. But it does work better if you can do it in just one sweep, let it dry, then do it again, let it dry, do it again. Back of this hand's quite a good place to push. So already a bit of life coming into his face now. Thinking his left cheek still needs a bit more. There we go. Maybe his right cheek as well. Go. Let's see if that's just the first highlight. A bit more to do. This one's going to be quite an interesting model. I like the way his face is leaning away. There's going to be a nice shade on one side and nice and bright on the other. I hope I can pull it off, it's going to be pretty cool. Beefy, you don't remember me showing you an halfling last week whispering through his hand, do you? I'm trying to figure out if he is in the house somewhere or if I have lost him when I was at York the week before your lesson. Again, I'd probably say this on every model. I don't know why I'm bothering painting his feet, because I'm going to have them covered in mud later. Because you're not going to have clean feet. Oh yeah. So there's a warrior running around. But anyhow, I can't paint a model and leave things unpainted. It distracts me, so I'm going to paint his feet anyway. Yeah, oh well mate, thanks. I think after this stream I'll turn the office upside down and have a good look, and then I'll speak to Alex. I may have left it at his house. If there's any Halfling, sorry, Arcworlde fans watching, after doing the demos at Vapanak, I went back to, I was lucky enough to go back to Warplock HQ, where they make all these miniatures, and see them being made, which was really cool. Even got to see the odd Warplock sculpt in the making, and some that'll never be made supposedly, just from personal collections. It was really cool, but we were there to make some how to play Arcworlde videos that I understand are coming out soon, or may even be stretch goals on the Kickstarter that's coming out soon. So you'll get to listen to my my voice even more. Unfortunately, we discovered I'm a bit of an so trying to explain the rules. So hopefully Alex has been a talented editor and got rid of some of that. But I mean, the aim is really just to help people learn the rules of Arcworlde and get some more players, because it benefits us all if there's some more players out there. Okay, let's go a stage lighter. I think the reason it's bugging me so much losing that halfling is that when it does turn up, I'm going to have to paint it separate to all these other halflings, where it would have been good to paint them all at the same time. Now, my little boy and his nephew were in here the other day, where I did lock the door, but somehow they got in. And my little boy keeps telling me there's a frog in the fish tank. I hope he doesn't mean a halfling, because there isn't a frog in the fish tank. So anyone seen Deadpool yet? I'm dying to go see it, but it's really good. I'm really liking how the face is coming along on this. I'm really hoping this one turns out well though. I'm really liking how I'm going to have to do one side of his face really dark. Made a mistake there, good old second brush, helping me out, get rid of that. I can't recommend having a second brush on standby enough, even if you're not confident enough to try some blending. I think just to have it on standby to get rid of mistakes is really good. Forgot about his ear. Better check all the other models as well for ears. Sometimes I do forget to do ears when they're lost in hair. You don't notice them sometimes. I'll finish the flesh on these halflings and then go back to the Lowlander and do the metallics, and then I think the Lowlander's finished apart from his base. I think what I'm planning to do is maybe get all the miniatures finished and then do the bases. I've started the base on the big troll, but I'm pausing for a moment. I think I'll get all the models painted and then do the bases together in one session. So beefy today, I think we said we were going to maybe look at doing some oil washing and some weathering together. I think you're the fastest I've ever been able to teach anyone blending. I think 2 hours is my record, so you did really well, mate. Tell you what, it is actually useful painting on camera, because when I look up I can see details on the camera that I can't actually see properly with my naked eye. So I noticed that I hadn't highlighted his eyebrows, but I couldn't even see them off camera. Okay, let's go a stage brighter. So every time we're going a stage brighter and getting closer and closer. to the highest highlights, the sharpest edges and the bits that are exposed to the light more than others. Pleased about that, thanks, and looking forward to learning more techniques today. Yeah, well, we'll see what we can do together. Well, we can, if you haven't had a chance to practice much since, we can do a quick refresher on blending, and then yeah, I think we'll look at oil washes and weathering, a bit of, got time, a bit of metallics. In fact, metallics are a really good place to practice blending on. So if you've, I can't remember what we were working on last week had a weapon. If we've got something with a big sword or an axe or something like that, we can maybe combine there. We could probably do practice the metallics, but the thing with metallics is you really have to have your blending spot on, so well, good chance to practice blending as well. We played a new game at the Games Club this week. It was a Kickstarter I pledged to sometime last year, I think. It's called Deception: Murder in Hong Kong. It's absolutely brilliant. It's like there's a game called The Resistance where you've got to there's several players and two of you are spies, and they know who each other is, and the others have got to try and figure out who they are. You go on missions. You've got to do 5 missions, and if 3 out of the 5 are success, then the resistance fighters win, but if 3 out of 5 fail, then the spies win. And so you choose people to go on the mission, and you don't know if you're taking a spy with you, you see, and through deduction you've got to try and figure out who the spies are and not choose them to go on your mission. And obviously the spies are trying to convince everyone that they're not a spy and that they should be taken on the mission. So Deception: Murder in Hong Kong is a bit like that. You play a team of detectives trying to solve a murder, but the murderer is actually one of the detectives. And one of the players plays the forensic expert. He knows who the murderer is, and the murderer chooses, everyone gets dealt out a clue and a murder weapon and places them in front of them. In fact, you get several, and while everyone's eyes are shut, the murderer points to the murder weapon and the clue so the forensic expert can see them. And then for the rest of the game, the forensic expert's not allowed to talk, and he provides, there's a series of cards with clues and subjective words that he has to point to try and help the detectives figure out which one of them is the murderer. And then the detectives have got to get the correct clue and the correct murder weapon. It's really good fun. It worked out really well. Beefy. Couple on hanging weapons. Couple on hanging weapons. Couple have weapons. Is that predictive text? Maybe. Couple have weapons. Well, make sure you bring them along, and we can today, and we can practice blending on them and look at metallics together. Okay, I think we're almost on the final highlight now. This is a very, very light flesh colour. We may see how this goes on. We may add some. Oh, slid's falling off, nearly got me. We may add some white to this, but we'll see how we get on. We're not going to add much water to this because this is going to be restricted to the very highest highlights, and the majority of them are quite sharp, so watered down paint would fall off them and flood into other areas. So the current song is by my friend Alan Stelmach, talented musician, who's agreed to let me use some of his music in my videos, because it's quite hard to find non-copyright music that I actually like, and I like Alan's music, and he's kindly said he's going to work on some more music for me, and then he's going to make it available to other Twitch users and YouTube content makers. So once he's ready, he's going to put it on a website, and I'll link to it on my stream as well. Because if you're not careful, I've discovered that Twitch and YouTube will mute your videos if you're using someone else's copyrighted music. Well, that face is looking pretty cool, I think. Now, the sculptor Alex has sculpted some eyelids, which I'm going to try and highlight there, which has led to me getting some paint in his eye, but I'm going to paint his eyes anyway, so I'm not too concerned. It's a bit distracting, but it's not the end of the world. I'm going to paint over them. I'm just going to water down a little bit of this paint so I can highlight the top of his bald head. I think it's too thick at the moment to highlight such a large area. Sorry, Mr. Halfling, to point out your bald spot. There we go. So I bought myself a cheap new face camera, because the last one that I was using wasn't actually a webcam. It was a GoPro clone that you could use as a webcam, but it kept stuttering and failing. This one seems to be working perfectly fine. Although today you get an extreme close-ups because I'm having to lean in. Everything I've been painting today is such fine detail. I've been having to lean in quite close. I think the tendons on his hand here need highlighting a bit more. It's quite a nice feature that the sculptor's done there, so I want to highlight them. Highlights don't look quite right on this one for some reason. Okay, Beefy, take care, I'll see you later. Thanks for stopping by and having a chat. Hope it's been helpful. Again, the sculptor's done some eyelids on these, so I need to hold my breath and try and paint them. Paint's drying out slightly, get some more. Just trying to catch that knuckle. I think I'll do the eyes as well before I move back onto the Lowlander. Quite happy with some of these faces, but it might be just because they don't have any eyes yet. Something's not quite right with some of them. Alright, let's get some white. Do the eyes. I'm just going to mix a teeny bit of black in with this white, not too much fine bright white, just a little bit too startling, like they're about to be hit by a bus or something, so just tone it down a teeny bit. Do the captain. again, apologies. I'm having to lean in, hold my breath a bit, and I'm not. My fingers are getting in the way of you guys viewing it, but it's quite difficult, as you can imagine. So I think this ranger's got one eye shut because he's looking down the arrow to aim. Yeah, I think the other one's shut. I hope you guys can see this. It's a bit difficult painting eyes on the camera. This is a difficult one to get into. Bloody hell. Can't believe I got away with that. And as always, have your second brush ready in case you make a mistake. So I don't know why I do it this way around. It is a risk painting the flesh first, and you spend all that time working hard to do a nice face, and then you go in and do the eyes. You do risk, I suppose, painting over the eyes. Can't remember if I do sometimes. Maybe I do the eyes first sometimes, but I think a lot I do them as after I've done the flesh, like I say, which is risky. So you have to be careful. Hey, good morning, Guy Mice. How are you doing, my friend? Are you in stealth mode now? Hee hee hee. Stealth mode I am, yeah, the kids are still in bed upstairs, don't know for how much. Well, no, he's probably awake now. He's probably jumped into bed with my wife, and she'll be looking after them kindly to let me do a bit more painting. So here's the Lowlander almost done. I've been doing some battle damage on his shield this morning, finishing off a few highlights. Looks like the varnish is still drying on this guy, but once that's dry I'm just going to do the silvers, and then I think he's done, apart from the base. There's a malt festival in town. Oh, nice. Guy Mice, if you like your beers and you're ever in the UK, you are welcome to come and visit me. We have the most amazing beer festival. It's look it up, it's called the Oxenhope. OXENHPE, Oxenhope Beer Festival, because where I live we have a steam train railway station, so it's got loads of steam trains, really old fashioned, and you have some beers on the platform there. You catch the steam train up, which is maybe about 45 minutes journey, maybe not, yeah, maybe about that, and you have some beers on the train. And then you get off at the railway museum at the top, and there's loads of live music, hundreds of relays, and you're surrounded by old steam trains in this museum, so it's really cool. And yeah, it's just a great night, great food, great beer, great music, and then catch the steam train home, have some more beers on the train, some more beers on the platform, and then we're famous for curries where I live, so I usually have a curry as well to end the night. So that's usually in October, so if you ever fancy that, give me a shout. Sweet, the damage is painted and not sculpted. Yeah, that's right, yeah. You'll have to rewind and watch the video later on how I did that. Yeah, it's just dark colour dabbed on the other day with a sponge, and then I did a lighter colour in the middle of each of the dabs to give it that 3D effect, and then a white line where the light would catch it, if you imagine the light coming from above, and then painted some sword chips into the side, and then again a tiny little white line to make them more 3D and stand out. I once, me and a friend once went over to Copenhagen for the beer festival there. That was pretty awesome. We have a friend who lived out there and he invited us over. It was really good. I think there's a brewer over there. Is he called Mikkola or something like that? He was. He did some nice beers, and I think he organised the beer festival actually. And it was a bit. He was a bit of a big deal. I think he was. I think there was a rumour going around that he was actually there or something. I can't quite remember, but everyone was getting all worked up about something. My local town, Keighley, has got a famous brewery here called Timothy Taylor's. I don't know if you've heard of them, but maybe check them out. They do a really nice beer called Landlords. Timothy Taylor's Landlords. The beer's called. Have a look at that. So bear with me. I'm having to dot some I's now. So if I get my knuckles in the way or my head's too close to the camera, it's because I'm having to concentrate. Not too bad, I suppose. A good tip for beginners doing eyes, I discovered many years ago, is to, before you've painted the flesh, do them first. Paint the eye white. No, sorry, paint the eye black. Then as careful as you can, paint the middle of the eye white, and then you can do a black. You can even start on his forehead, do a black line all the way down through the middle of the eye, even down on his cheek. And what that does, so rather than putting a dot in the middle of the eye, you've done a stripe right down the middle. And then when you paint the flesh, you just paint over those black stripes, and you've got an eye perfectly in the middle of your model's eye. Good morning, Lord Manhattan. No, I don't make these models, but a friend of mine does, Alex Huntley of Warplock Miniatures. It's for a game called Arcworlde that's been out a couple of years now, but these are brand new miniatures. He's launching a new box set tomorrow, actually. The Kickstarter starts, I believe. May even be today. Have a look on Kickstarter, search for Arcworlde, ARCWORLDE, so it's Arcworlde, all one word with E on the end. Yeah, the Kickstarter's coming out tomorrow, and he's kindly sent me some to get painted up because I help him do the demo tables and teach people the rules. So he kindly sent me some to paint up for the demo tables and for my own use. So that was really kind. But I've been really annoyed this morning. I appear to have lost a halfling. He's either snuck off in the night. He is a ranger after all. Or I was demoing with them a couple of weeks ago, and I can't remember if it made its way back. So I'm just having this guy looking to the right. So that's a much easier way of doing eyes, is just paint them in the corner. Sometimes that's a good way of doing it. Guide mice, what a confession that is. Oh, you've never painted eyes. How have you avoided that? I guess if I know I've been watching you paint the sci-fi guys, so I guess if you predominantly paint sci-fi guys with helmets on, I guess maybe you've never needed to. This guy, I believe, if I'm looking at the sculpt right, has only got one eye open. The other one's got it closed because he's aiming down the arrow. So just painting that. Lord Manhattan. I could learn make miniatures. I want to learn. Yeah, it's a voodoo art, isn't it? Sculpting. I have been trying to learn, and my friend Alex has given me a couple of lessons. I think with anything, mate, you probably you can watch all the YouTube videos and stuff like that, but I'd recommend getting some lessons if you can. I don't know if you're in the UK. I can put you in contact with Alex if you want. Private message me. He does lessons and private. He does run a course at one of the Nottingham universities. I think it's Nottingham Trent. He does a short course there that you can go on. But I know he does do private lessons as well. But yeah, it'd be so cool to be able to just sculpt whatever you want, wouldn't it? Whoop, I've painted him a bit bog-eyed. So, apologies viewers, everyone who's watching. I'm having to lean in really close on these models, and it's quite difficult. Well, it's quite difficult painting eyes as it is, but leaning over a camera and trying to keep it in shot's really difficult. So if you're just seeing my knuckles and or if the paintbrush is getting in the way, I do apologise, but it is difficult, so bear with me. Because the challenge, it's going to get even harder, because the challenge next is to try and put a little white dot on the pupil if I can get away with it as well, just to make them shine. MW3 boss, paint me. Well, if you can shrink yourself down into a miniature form, I'll give it a go. Yeah, so mostly helmeted models, so you haven't had the chance to do any eyes. Well, I challenge you, sir, to get a model with some eyeballs and paint them and give them a go. Lord Manhattan, how much time you do this? So how long have I been painting? I have been painting probably about 30 years. Ever since a little kid. I remember the first models I ever painted were tiny little soldiers, and I just gave them little. In the UK, we have some soldiers called the Red Berets. I don't know if they still exist or not. I'm sure they do. So I used to paint Red Berets on my little toy soldiers. And then a few years later, I got a new neighbour who introduced me to Dungeons and Dragons. So that was in the early 80s. Just trying to paint some white dots just on the pupils here. Very, very difficult. So I'm just going to hold my breath for a second. I think I've probably, too much on that guy. He looks like he's got a dead eye now. Although that might be quite cool. I might paint a scar across that eye now. I'll think about that. I'll come back to that one. And then, where did I go from there? Dungeons and Dragons, and then I think I got introduced to one of his friends who was playing Space Hulk, and he had some. I think I still remember. Oh no! Right, second brush. That's why it's good to have a second brush behind your ear. I still remember it to this day. He had a Marine on a base, and the base had like this checkered metal on it, and bursting out of the metal was a Gene Stealer's hand trying to grab him, and I was just, this is like, it must be 25 years ago, and I still remember it vividly in my mind, and I was just blown away. I was like, this is the coolest thing I have ever seen, and from that day forward I started to take painting seriously, and just fell in love with painting miniatures and playing war games. And then, I'm not doing very well. I think possibly the white paint's too watered down. I'm going to thicken it up a bit. I'm struggling to do these white dots. So normally I use really watered down paints, but it's way too watered down, that. every time I try to put this white dot on the model, it's coming off the brush too big and flooding into places I don't want it to go. So the compromise is you've got to, or the balance you've got to try and strike is that you don't want the paint too thick because it'll dry out before you've even got it on the model, but you don't want it too wet because it's gonna flood into places. There we go. Maybe you can't see that on camera, but it's got a tiny little bright spot on his eyeball now. Where was I? I was talking about my history of painting. And then, you know, I painted for years and years and years, and it wasn't really until the internet came out that you started to discover, you know, I used to read White Dwarf and stuff like that and drool over the heavy metal pages, but it wasn't until the days of the internet and I stumbled across Rackham, and they're beautiful, beautiful miniatures, and they're incredible painters, and then discovered the website Cool Mini or Not and just devoured the forums and all the tutorials and all the tips I could learn. My painting slowly but surely improved and improved until eventually you know, people started asking me for lessons, you know, local people at the Wargaming Club, and then finally gave in and started doing a few lessons, and then started my own website. I'm quite lucky that I get lots of lovely people coming to learn to paint from me. It's really nice. How much challenge accepted? Good one, Geitmeister. Lord Manhattan, oh my god, 30 years. You sell or guard to you. I don't know what that means. It's alright, man. Don't worry about it. I can't speak any other languages really, let alone write them, so no worries. So I'm going to leave the halflings for now and get back to this guy that I was painting earlier. The varnish isn't just about dried now. I'm a bit concerned about this spot on the back of his rucksack here. It's taking a very long time to dry. I've never had any problems with this varnish before, so I'm trusting that it will dry. So everything's done really now. I've been doing some battle damage on his shield, and for the guys that were, if anyone's watching yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before, I'd used an airbrush and I masked this off to get the pattern on his shield, and then this morning I've just been trying to do tiny little highlights to all this battle damage, but because this has now had 3 layers of matte varnish, all the silvers have really matted down, so I'm going to revisit them to make them shine a little bit more. Let me show you the shiniest silver I've ever been able to find. It's called Alcad 2. It's actually an alcohol based one. As you can see, all the silver pigments, I haven't used it for a while, so all the alcohol's up here and all the silver paint's down here, so I'm just going to shake this and try and revive it. I hope it's not ruined. Nah, it's fine. So you need an old brush for this because it'll damage your good brushes because it's alcohol based, so don't use an expensive Kolinsky Sable on this. So what I'm attempting to do here is just revive these silvers a little bit after they've been matted down because we want them to shine. Let's use an old brush. Use this one. While I'm at it, I might just do a few more chips and scratches on this sword with this silver. I believe you can spray this silver through the airbrush. I think I once saw like a hot rod car model painted with it. Bear with me, struggling to get an angle on this. And it was, I don't know, almost like mirror finish. It was amazing. Oops, sorry, that's not on camera, sorry. So all I'm trying to do here is just bring back some of this shine to these metallics, but concentrating on the areas that are receiving the most light. Anyone who's watching, don't forget you can use hashtag Boise2000UK and send me a tweet of what you're working on, or an Instagram, and it will appear in the top right, that box in the top right hand corner. It's nice to see what other people are painting. Oh, also this month, and just to say thank you to all the people that have welcomed me onto Twitch and helped me out. I'm doing a giveaway. I'm giving away this model, the limited edition Guild Ball model is called the Boiler. I don't think they made many of these. It's something I painted up a while ago and it's just been sat on my desk, so I'm giving it away to one of my followers at the end of this month. I'm going to do a random draw, so make sure you follow me and you'll be with a chance of winning that. Leave that up for a minute. Try and do the buckles on his shoe, these are very small. Careful. Bit on the spike of his, is that a hair on the end of the spike? Oh no, it's come off right. Okay, well hopefully you can definitely see it on the sword. I think it's definitely shining much more now. So what do people think? Has that worked? Made the metals shine a bit more. Let's bring him back up. Something happened to the chat. It's gone wrong on this screen here. Can I refresh this? Refresh. Everybody's chat's disappeared. Will someone just put something in the chat box, please? Just let me know it's still working. I am still live, aren't I? Somebody do me a favour, type something in the chat box. I think something may have gone wrong. Okay, I think something may have gone wrong. Let me visit my Twitch channel and see what's happening on there. Come on, advert, get out of the way. Ah, Guy Mice. So the chat is working. Are you using XSplit, by the way? Yes, I am, Guy Mice. Oh, well, the stream seems to be working okay, and your comments come up on screen now, so that's fine. That's good. Thank you for that, Guy Mice. Let's get everything back up. So, can I just ask, what do you think to the silvers now? They shining a bit more than they were. I'm worried about the back of his pack there. I've never known this varnish to take so long to dry. Hopefully it will. Hair on the end of your brush, always keep an eye out for them. Don't know where that came from. Now I'm not sure if these are metal clips on the back of his backpack, but I'm going to paint them as silver anyway. I think they are. Just bear with me, I just need to do something off camera. Can't quite get into this on camera. Just realised I've missed a bit behind this sword. There's no way I'm getting in behind there doing this on camera. There we go. Well, I think it's pretty much done this. Should maybe stop messing around with it. Sometimes you've just got to stop. What do we think, guys? I think that's brought the metals to life a bit more now after all those varnishes. Okay, I think we're done. Keep spotting something else. I think these buckles need just a little bit more. Hi. So that was a paint called Arcworlde 2. Very, very shiny silver, but it is an alcohol one, so it's a bit different to work with. You need to be careful, and it can ruin your brushes, so use an old one. I think the alcohol can eventually eat away at the glue that's holding the hairs into the brush, so if you've spent a lot of money on Kolinsky Sable brushes, definitely don't use them. I'm just going to clean this brush now with a bit of white spirits. Yeah, I was saying earlier, guys, I'm going to, because I've got so many of these models to paint, I'm going to do all the bases at the same time. I know I skipped ahead and did old Grog's base a little bit, but I think I'm going to do all the bases at the same time just to kind of save time and getting all the basing materials out, which gets a bit messy. So if I'm doing them all at the same time, I think that would be a bit better. So yeah, still got his base to do, but I think for now he's pretty much done. So back to the halflings. Yeah, I think I need to do this halfling's eye again. It's oh, I've just dropped my brush on the floor. Where have you gone? Ow! I think the white dot I attempted has turned it into a dead eye. Bit better. Right, what next? So these are rangers, so they sneak around. They're the elite of the halflings, so I'm thinking something a little bit more earthy colours to help camouflage them. I might go dark green on the tunics and a different colour for the hoods, or dark green on the hoods and a different colour for the tunics. Okay, I think I'm gonna go leather. Leather for their shirts. Maybe a dark green hood. Or maybe dark green for the shirts and hood, and then this kind of shoulder garment to a different colour. Or is that part of the hood? It's part of the hood, isn't it? Okay. I think what I'll do is I'm going to paint all of the fabric dark green and then decide after that if I want to do the hood a different colour. I thank Guy Mice, yeah, they're really nice models. I think they're going to be good fun to paint. But I'm quite happy with the flesh so far. He's the captain. I've lost one. I've been really annoyed this morning. He's gone walkabout somewhere, and he's my favourite one. He's like he's whispering behind his hand, like issuing an order. I can imagine these guys are sneaking around in the trees or bushes. Change the paper in my palette. So what you're going to be working on today, Guy Mice? I've forgotten what you call those robots that you've been working on. They're for 40k, aren't they? If anyone who's watching who doesn't know Guy Mice, you need to go check out his stream. He's a prolific YouTube Twitch painter. He's regularly on there, very good at painting and very good at offering advice. He explains things really well, and his stream's really high quality. I would definitely go check it out. I've learnt a lot from Guy Mice since I joined Twitch, and really appreciate it, mate. You've been really helpful. A bit reluctant to paint everything the same colour. Maybe I'll do the sleeves a different colour and these trousers a different colour. Decisions. It's one of the hardest things, I think, sometimes about painting, is deciding the colour scheme. I'll have to have a look at the colour wheel in a minute and see what goes well with a dark green. Sicarian infiltrators. I tell you what, I absolutely love the orange colour that you've been doing. That every time I see it, it's like, oh, it's so nice. I need to attempt that on something. I think I showed you the Malifaux guy yesterday. He was one of the first. Whoa, what's that beeping? I hate it when that happens. It always means something's gone wrong. so everything seems fine. Also, I'm going to check the results of the poll I made to prepare for my next painting project. Yeah, well, I voted in that and I saw the results last night. It may have changed since I voted, but I won't reveal the surprise for you. So the painting community seems to be growing rapidly, Guy Mice, on Twitch. I don't know, I think you've been around quite a bit longer on here than I have. I don't know what your thoughts are, but it seems every day there's somebody new painting, or you know, loads more painters coming to watch. I mean, I know I've been updating my painting Facebook page, and I mean, for this game I've been updating all the guys on there that play this game as well, that I've been painting on Twitch, so I think that's brought in some new viewers, and I've been encouraging as many people as possible to get painting on Twitch, because it's such a nice community, and it's really, I think I've heard you mention it, it's really motivating as well. I think it's really motivated me to paint much more than I normally would. I think you just muted yourself for a second there. That might have been the beeping. Thanks, indeed, it's awesome, but I still like I'm one of the new guys. So that's strange, that beeping. Wonder if I lost signal. It's a wireless headset. This it's been charging a while, so hopefully the batteries aren't running out. That happened to me the other day. But it was really lucky. I was just saying bye to everybody. I was just shutting down the stream and the batteries went. It was perfect timing almost. Thanks, Guy Mice. Yeah, you, even though you say you're relatively new, you seem to have your channel pretty well organised. It's all laid out really well, and you got your painting screen perfect. Really, I mean, I've got a camera bolted to. I've learnt from you. I've got a camera bolted to the table in front of me now, so I think that's improved the shot a lot more. I think I need to work on the light. I think I'm actually causing shadows myself, which is a bit distracting. Whoops, painted his hand green. Second brush, here we go. Oh, look at my fingers in the way. This is I need to be mounting these. I think it was much better like with the Lowlander when he was mounted on that bit of wood. Get my fingers out of the way. So I'm doing a lesson for somebody today, and he was watching earlier. That was strange, and commenting. It was quite nice. He came to say hi. Yeah, I did an experiment yesterday with multiple light coming from multiple angles. It just on screen it just seemed better with this one light, but you know, I am causing shadows. shoulders better. That causes less shadows, but although my head's going to get in the way, isn't it? Yeah, I just need to experiment with these things a bit more. I'm getting there. I think looking back at the first couple of videos, things have changed dramatically. So at this stage, quite watered down paints can be quite liberal and quick, although I'm not the quickest painter in the world, but don't need to worry about being accurate too much. It's just laying down the first layers, and the pre-shading's doing a lot of work for us already, telling us where the dark colours need to go, where the light colours are going to go. I've said before, it's a bit like paint by numbers almost. So you've had a look at that beer festival, Guy Mice. Looks good, doesn't it? What time does yours start today? And is it a serious beer festival? The one I went to in Copenhagen was quite serious. There were people taking notes in their little notepads of what they thought about the beers, while some you go to and it's just a piss up really, but yeah, that one was, people were taking it very seriously. You need to buy an Imperial Knight. Yes, you do. I didn't realise you didn't own those miniatures already. I may have voted differently. Knowing that. Yeah, they're pretty expensive, aren't they? AFK. I don't know what that means. I need an internet acronym dictionary. Okay, let's do a second layer of this green. So I can hear movement upstairs. I think my children are stirring, so I may need to end for the day soon. Also, I need to tidy my office for the lesson I'm doing later to look a bit more professional. You guys can't see it, but it gets a bit of a mess when I'm being creative. I've said this before, I'd rather paint than tidy up, so things get a bit messy sometimes. Away from keyboard. Away. I'm learning all sorts. I learned BRB, be right back, the other day. Away from keyboard. Have you tried pre-shading yet? or zenithal priming Gate Mice? If so, what do you think about it? Or if not, why not? I really like it. I mean, it's great for beginners as well, trying to teach them where highlights and shades need to go, but I still use it. I think it works so well for me. You know, sometimes it's difficult to try and figure out where a highlight and a shade needs to go, so it kind of tells you for you, it does all the work. Paint's still wet on that guy, I'll leave him for a second. I think what I'll do for the next stream, I'll have all these mounted on some wooden blocks to get my fingers out of the way. If I remember rightly, on yours you managed to do quite well. Yeah, I think you're holding them on the base, aren't you? And you managed to do quite well at avoiding that Gate Mice. Okay, let's mix up a shade for this green now. Where's my colour wheel? So, if anyone hasn't got one of these, you need to get yourself one. They're really good for painting. Colour wheel. So, now, strangely, according to colour theory, reds in the shades might be quite interesting, so let's give it a go. If it don't work, we can always paint over. Sorry, what? I think I was talking about you guys, just saying that tomorrow, well, today at some point I'm going to try and put all these halflings on some wooden blocks, a bit like I did with the Lowlander, so I can get my fingers out of the way. But I was saying on your stream, you managed to, if I remember rightly, you're holding them by the base, and you've managed to quite well keep your fingers out of the way. I guess it's practice, I suppose. Okay, so I have added a little bit of dark red to this green to make our shade colour, because according to colour theory that should work nicely. We will see. Alright, above the miniature. So is that, I know you did post a picture of your setup, but I was on my phone and I couldn't click on it. Is that so is that above your head and then zoomed in, or how do you keep your head out of the way? looks an interesting colour in the shades. Certainly in keeping with the kind of earthy camouflaged effect I'm going for, so we'll see how it works out. It's always nice to have these experiments. Sometimes they work and you discover a colour that you can use again, and then sometimes they don't, and then you paint over them or just learn from the mistake. But red's not necessarily a colour you would normally think to put in the shades of the green, but according to colour theory it should work, and I think it is a little bit.
Oh no, sir. We prefer doing things our own way.
Oh, I'm really getting in the way of this light, aren't I? Right, Guy Mice, you're definitely someone I can trust in the chat. I'll try and give you permission to post links. Be right back, Laundry. How do I do that? You've sent me the link to your pictures. Great stuff, thank you. How do I give you regulars? Add user. So Guy Mice is now added as a regular.
We prefer doing things our own way.
Yeah, so you are now exempt from that, so you should be allowed to post links now, Guy Mice, on my stream. Right, where was I? Shades. So yeah, I've added a bit of dark hull red by Vallejo into the shades of this screen. Colour theory says that should work, and seems to be giving it, well, it's certainly darkening the shades and it's certainly sticking with the earthy feel I was going for. Oops. Keep knocking the camera, sorry. Okay, well I think that's certainly been an interesting colour. It's need to darken it down a little bit now. Try that. Okay, I think I'm going to do about 10 minutes more and then call it a day. Need to start getting the kids ready for football. Tidy up the office. I've got a guy coming for a lesson later today and need to look a little bit more professional than it is right now. It's been a bit of creative chaos in here. So I've made a darker colour for the shades here, still got quite a bit of red in there and added a little bit of black just to darken it down, just move that ever so slightly closer to the shades. See how the varnish is drying on this guy. Still a bit wet on his rucksack, I'm worried about that. Don't know what I've done there. It'll be okay, hopefully. Sounds like Mario Kart, this one. I need a recorder like Guy Mice. Play some music. Make some music. Even. Halflings everywhere. So just feathering that edge there with a second brush, help it blend. Sometimes you might see me, I don't bother, because I use such watered down paints. Sometimes you Right, I'm just going to need to do a bit off camera, I can't get in under his arm. Sometimes the watered down paints actually kind of blend themselves almost, because they're translucent and you're layering them in thin layers on top of each other, but sometimes you can get away with not. I try to feather everything, but you don't always need to do it. You can get away with not doing it sometimes. Kind of use your own judgment. If you think it didn't blend quite as well like there, and just come in with a second brush. Okay, one last shade I think. Let's have a little bit more black. Really dark now. Restrict this to the deepest, darkest corners. So where, for example, on this halfling where his shoulder pad meets his tunic, there's no light getting in there. Where his beard meets his tunic, where his tunic disappears around the corner there, nice and dark. And then this piece of fabric of his tunic meeting this his undergarment there needs to be nice and dark. Around the back here where the shield meets his tunic, that's going to block the light, so we want that nice and dark. And there's that overhang here from his shoulders, it needs to be dark. Tunic meeting the axe, dark. So you get the idea, where two areas meet and they're blocking the light, we need it nice and dark. Yeah, thanks Guy Mice, I've put you down as a regular now, so you should be able to do that. I mean, it's appeared in the link has appeared in the logs of Nightbot, so I can click on that at my leisure now. But yeah, thank you. But if you want to post it again so others can see it and click on it, feel free. Although it looks like you might be the only viewer at the moment. While you were doing your laundry, I was just saying I'm going to stop in about 5 minutes. I've got a lesson later I need to tidy up, and then it's football day for my little boy, so I need to get ready for that too. But it's been nice having your company and everyone else who's joined me over the stream. Huge image. I'll have a look at that later. I need to have a practice of adding windows quickly to the stream like you do. Like last night, you quite quickly were bringing up people's submissions. I need to have a practice. I know there's like a browser capture, isn't there, option. I need to give that a try. And in fact, I'll just finish these shades and I'll give that a quick go. So how much does an Imperial Knight cost, Skype Mice? If that's going to be your next project. They're huge, aren't they? Have you got an airbrush? Okay, I think I'm going to call that a day on the halflings. Let's have one last look at the Lowlander, see how that worrying piece of varnish is coming along. Still looking wet. Might have to, I'll give it a few more hours and might have to hand paint some matte varnish over the top of that. I don't know what's happened there. I mean, it's not the end of the world, I suppose. They cost quite a lot and no airbrush. So that's going to be quite a challenge painting that by hand. Right, let me see if I can figure out. So if I copy that link, copy link address, and then let's see if I can put your add web page URL. Let's try that. Oh, here we go. How? Oh. £95 there for a, so that pole there has worked out quite expensive for you. How do we move that to the top layout? Don't know how to bring that to the top. Looks like I've got half the picture missing. Anyway, so that's so that's your camera directly above. Interesting. I suppose that completely keeps your. Might have to have a think about that. Very cool. Okay, thanks for that, Guy Mice. Everyone, this screen we've got up here, don't forget, followers this month were in with a chance of winning this. To say thank you for everyone who's welcomed me onto Twitch and followed me. This is a limited edition boiler that I painted for the game Guild Ball. And this has just been sat on my desk gathering dust, so I thought, well, why not give them away to some of the kind people who've been helping me. Alright, Guy Mice, I'm going to get going now. I've got a few things to do, so we'll have one last look at the Lowlander. I'm quite pleased with him, how he's turned out, and I'm going to get going. Kenshin, you've come in. I was just about to quit the broadcast. Thank you so much for joining me, but I'm leaving now, mate. This is what I've been painting today. The Lowlander from Arcworlde. and then a few. Then I've been working on some halflings as well for Arcworlde. But thank you so much for joining me. Thanks, Guy Mice. Friend Kenshin, okay. I will have a look at his stream. But yeah, thanks for joining me. I'm going to get going now. Kenshin, if I can't remember if you've watched before, if you follow me, if you're not already, there's a chance of winning this miniature this month for my followers. Just to say thanks to everyone who's been helping me out and following me. So make sure you follow if you're not already. I'm going to go check out your stream as well now. Okay guys, I am going to get going. Thanks for spending the time and saying hi, and have a great weekend yourselves. Take care. Oh, before I go, I've put a schedule up now. I'm looking at Sunday evenings, Monday evenings, and possibly Wednesday afternoons, so that's up there now. I'm going to try and stick to that. Alright, take care everyone.